Hi, friends, and welcome back to the second part of this Canva for Education. In this session, we're going to be exploring how to use Canva with students. The first part is going to be a little bit of a low tech option to where we're going to talk about how to create graphic organizers and things you can print off to give the students. And then the second part, we're going to talk about how students can use Canva to create products for your content. So I am super excited for this session. I am ready to get started, and I hope that you are just as excited as me. If you've never used Canva or if you don't have a Canva for Education account, I highly recommend going and watching my first video in this series so you can get your free Canva account and learn just the basics of Canva. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and let's get started. We're going to talk in this session, the first part, like I said before, about some things that you can do to print out for your students. So, underneath templates, I want to point out the education tab. Now, this part, the classroom decor kits, I know that's not technically something you would give kids, but that's something that you can look at to find if there's any posters that you would like to create for your classroom. I was looking through these earlier and found a set that I really, really liked. Of course, I'm going to have to scroll down to find it. And I just remembered that it wasn't under classroom decor, it was under actually posters. So I'm going to find that just to kind of give you an idea about some of the things you could find to print out for your classroom. And here they are. These were the ones I really liked. These, and you can kind of scroll through them. And if you like the background and the circle, you can customize it and change that font and or the words in the bubble to whatever it is that you want it to be. So any template that you find, whether it be the classroom decor kit or the posters, whatever it is, you can customize those, make them your own, and change them up. And we talk more about that in the first video, but yeah. So love all of those. Now, I'm going to go back and I want to look at those templates again. So underneath education, this time I'm going to click on worksheets. And I know it says worksheets, but once you get in here, it's not worksheets like you're thinking. There's graphic organizers and all kinds of things in here. So you have things from like handwriting worksheets and stuff like that to graphic organizers and writing templates. And there's just a lot to look at through here. When I find one that I like, I might click on it. And although I'm not teaching about self-love, I know that's important, I might want to use that. So I'm going to click customize this template. Now, the girls in my middle school classroom probably would love this template, but the guys might not. So I'm going to take some of that out, and I can change these lines. If I press shift, I can extend those lines out. And I press and shift because it helps me keep those lines straight instead of curving everywhere where I'm trying to fix up my lines here. All right. And I could change the heart icon just by deleting that. Maybe go in here and change up what I'm talking about. So let's say that I want to talk about life cycles. I'm going to keep that font the same, but you can always change the fonts too just by clicking over here where mine says beautiful and looking at the list and finding what it is. So then you could have the students talk about the life cycle. Maybe they could right here write the animal that they have. So I might want to insert that text to give them some prompts on what to do in this box. Move my text box over. Fit it inside. Okay. So you can make it say whatever you want to there, change the font size, and then in each of these boxes, you could have like a little prompt, like what do they eat? Where's their habitat? What's their predators? What's their prey? What are their adaptations? Or whatever it is that you want to put in each of these boxes and each of these writing fields. So they could do that by printing it out, or you can pull them in to Canva using Google Classroom. But I'm going to show you that later on in this session. But the students have to be over the age of 13 without parental consent, and I will show you a place where you can go and get your form that you can send home. That way you can get your parental consent if you teach students that are younger than 13. One thing that I want to mention is you can change the background. Typically, if we're printing these at school, we're going to want white and black for the background. But if you're wanting to leave them a fancy color, you can change it whatever color you want to. All right. So once you're finished, you can go to download, and you can download that. And I highly recommend downloading almost everything, like I said in the first session, in that PDF format. And then when you download it, you can open that up. Make sure it looks good and is oriented the way that you want it to. And you can press print and send it to the printer of your choice from that time. All right. You could also, underneath those 3 dots, you can send this to Google Classroom. The first time you do this, you will have to sign in with your Google account and give it permission to talk to your classrooms. So it's going to ask you which class that you want to send it to. I'm going to pick my homeroom. That's just the title of my class. And you can decide whether you want it to be a material or a question or an announcement or an assignment. I'm going to make it an assignment. And then assign. Now, with that, it's just going to give them a viewable copy, and that's just totally an example. Later on in this session, I'll show you how to make these be templates for the students to go in and actually work on these manually through Canva themselves. But just for now, keep that in mind. That's only going to be a view-only copy for them. All right. So we talked about how to print and how to download and all of that. I want to go back and look at some more of these worksheets. I just want to invite you to pause the video yourself too and go and look at all of those templates, because whether you teach music or art, PE, health, foreign language, finance class, engineering, math, science, social studies, language arts, there is all sorts of templates in there for every teacher, and you can take those and you can make them your own. So scroll through and just take a look at what all it has to offer. And you can even look up like music itself if you wanted to. And there's all kinds of templates in there for that. I'm going to look up graphic organizers and look at how many things are in there for graphic organizers. So take a moment and just play with those. Pause the video if you need to, and I'm going to jump on to the next topic. All right, so under education, you also have lesson plans. I know that most of our schools already have templates that the principals want you to use to turn your lesson plans in, but just know that those are there, and you don't necessarily have to use these templates for lesson plans. You might find them to be useful for something else, like you could just change the text. Like, I really like this cactus. Maybe I want to use that as a reflection sheet for my students, and they can just write whatever. or a planning guide for my students or goals or whatever I want. Something else that I use a lot are the certificates. You can create certificates for your students, or if you are a principal and you're watching this, you want to create certificates for PD, you can do that. Bookmarks are really cute. You could have the kids create their own bookmarks, or you can create them to give to your students for like a little reward or whatever. Print it on some nice cardstock. All kinds of great things. All right. Now, let's move in. We've talked about like all the printing thing. What I want to move into now is how do we get our students creating on here? Okay, if you have students that you want to add, you're going to click on people and you're going to have a few different ways that you can do that. The first way is the invite by link. So I could copy that link, I could post it in Google Classroom, or I could post it in my Lightspeed Relay Classroom and send that link to all of my students. But however I want to share with them, I could. And then they would just click that link and they would automatically be enrolled in my Canva classroom. I could also invite via code. So they would go to this URL and type in this code. I think the link would be easier in my opinion. Or if you teach students who do have Franklin County email, you can import through Google Classroom. Now, this one sounds super easy and the most convenient, but just know that the student has to have email access. So my daughter, she's in first grade. She does not have email access. So therefore, the invitation was going to an email that doesn't work. So if you do click import Google Classroom, you will have to sign in using your Franklin County email, but just make sure that you go through all of the prompts on that and connect your classroom and it will import them. Okay, now moving right along. After the students have went through and added themselves to the classroom, this is what it's going to look like. So I just put the share by link on Audrey's account. And as soon as I put that link up here and I clicked on it, she got a let's go and she is now part of Stella Pollard's team and she will have a classwork tab. So we're going to come back to that in just a minute. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my teams. If I have something that I want to assign my students, I need to go to create design and I can create it here. So I have all of those same options that I have from whenever I was creating in my first video. I can create a worksheet or a graphic organizer. I could create a presentation template if I wanted to have that and have them put their own work in there. So all of that is right there. And I highly recommend to look at the whiteboards, the mind maps, there's flashcards. I'm going to click whiteboard for now. Okay, so I'm going to make something for my students. And when I select that, I'm going to have some templates over here that I can look at. So I might really like, this one. So I can leave it the same or I can change it up. And then I could have the students type their outline. There's lots that I can pick from, just so many of those. And then they could also move them around. So these could be things that you could have them put in order or anything like that. All right. So when I'm done, I'm going to click the share button. And beside of my team, I'm going to click the eyeball and I can make it can edit or can view. I want to make sure that it can view. That way my students can see it. I'm going to click these three dots right here. And if it's something that I want them to complete, I'm going to click assignment. Okay, and publish. And then my students will be able to see that. Now, it is important that whenever you are given like the little eyeball, whenever you're given viewing rights to your students, that you do click the view only. The reason why is because if you click can edit, that means that all of your students can edit the original. And you know that some of them would. And they would probably put different types of emojis on there that wouldn't make sense. And we don't want that. So, whenever you are working on a design, make sure that you do make that to where they can only view it. So, let me open that up. Edit original as the teacher, because we don't want Audrey to be doing something to her original. And press share, change to can view beside of there. You want just the eyeball. All right. Now, when Audrey or your students go to Canva, they can click on your team. They can click on the pre-writing assignment or whatever it is, and they can only use that as a template. Now they can go in, they can make their edits, they can do whatever it is to this template that you are asking them to do. And they can also go over to elements and text and all of those other options that we have as well, and they can add things in. So I might want to look up pencil. The only thing is that sometimes when we give students this many options, it can be overwhelming, and some of them spend so much time looking at these. So just make sure to share with them, like, hey, you've got this much time. Don't waste the whole time on just looking up images. Now, just like us, the students where they are tied to our education account, they're going to have the option to use all of the icons, pictures, fonts, etc. without limitations. If they do this on their own account, then they are going to be locked down on which ones are free and which ones are pro or paid for. So just keep that in mind. If you want your students to create, set them up through the class accounts. All right, so let's say that Audrey is finished and she's ready to turn this in. She can click send a teacher. And if she has multiple teachers that she is working with, she can pick which class it is. She can type a message and then send. Now, as a teacher, this is one of the only things I don't like. You go home to your Canva account. You can't organize these by your class. So if you're like me, middle school background, I had 120 some kids a day, and scrolling through all of those could be quite a pain. So I would recommend that if you can work like that, that is totally fine. But I would recommend still setting them up to where they can work through Canva educators like what we've got. But I would show them how to download this work, and they can download as PNG or PDF. And since they're going to be on Chromebooks, it's going to save that to their Google Drive. I would recommend them downloading the work and then uploading it into an assignment in Google Classroom. If that sounds like mud, let me know and I will help you, because I really think this could be powerful in how students are creating work. I think especially showing them that they can upload and record themselves and add a video to this, like we shared in video 1, to where they're talking about their writing or they're talking about their assignment or whatever the problem is that they were working on. And having that on there is going to be empowering. You're going to be able to see their creativity about their writing or in ways that we are not used to seeing their creativity, because there's so many things that they can do. So really, really cool way to use Canva with your kiddos. You can have them use and create presentations. And if you are a math teacher, you could have them create charts where they're comparing ratios, or they're talking about some statistics that they have gathered from people inside of the school building or inside of the community, and they can make interesting little graphs or pictographs or anything like that. And just really seeing what they know and in creative ways for them to be able to learn. Now, I know this video has been shorter than the others, but that's because I want you to really spend some time exploring those different templates that are out there, and then creating something that you can use with your class. One of the things that I really like inside of Canva is the infographics. And with the infographic, that's going to be under templates and under marketing. And infographics are going to force students to take lots of knowledge and incorporate different medias with just very, very, very small amounts of text, because they don't have a lot of room, and if they did, it would make it really small. So you could do one. There's all kinds of these over punctuation. There's one over life cycle that I really like. So you could find one of those and have them, like, you could delete everything out and then assign it to them and make it just be blank and have them put their information on there. But those are just a few ideas. And I would love to hear if you plan on using this with your students and you want someone in there to help you, just because you know they're going to have a lot of questions, or because you just would feel better having another adult in there instead of 32 kids and one adult trying to tackle this all on your own. Let me know, and I would love to help you. But to get your PD hour for this, you're going to get 1 hour. I want you to play around, find some templates that you like, and then find one template or create one template that you can use for your kids, and share that link with me in the sign in video. Sign in video. That's going to be linked directly under this on YouTube. If you have any questions whatsoever, my email address is stella.pollard@franklin.kyschools.us, and I will be extremely happy to help you. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you learned a lot.